I'm here to see Amble Dexter.
Your passport, please. Mr. Rector, are you here with Mr. Walker?
Yes. This is Mr. Walker.
Your passport, please, Mr. Walker. Very good. Go on through, sirs.
What was that about?
I was going to ask you.
Welcome back, Mr. Rector.
Mr. Dexter?
And Captain Walker. It's a pleasure to meet you. You have a most remarkable service record.
Thank you, sir.
You're quite the hero. I'm almost tempted to steal you from Rector's employ.
I'm fine where I am at the moment, sir.
Sit down, Mr. Rector. You said you wanted to talk to me. You may speak freely. I do have your word, Mr. Walker, that nothing that's said here will leave this office.
Yes, sir.
I most certainly will speak freely. How do you know Mr. Walker?
I take an interest in you, Mr. Rector, whether you work for me or not. When I heard you'd hired Mr. Walker, I made it my business to find out about him.
My records are classified.
And I believe that's called stalking out here in private citizen land.
You're not merely a private citizen. I think we both know that.
I was attacked in Cairo while on a job for another client. The attackers were the same ones who broke into my hotel room in Venice. They were dressed as Arabs, but it was definitely the same organization.
In fact, they attacked Mr. Walker even before I hired him. Then they jumped both of us in the street. I'd like an explanation. Are they your men?
No, they certainly are not. I can only assume they're interested in you for the same reason that I am, for your remarkable skills. Did you learn anything more about them?
They're Chinese but not nationals. One of them spoke fluent English with an American accent.
Interesting. We'll get to the bottom of this. I'll make sure of it. But please don't worry about those men. That's not your job.
Oh? And what is my job?
I think you know.
Bianca Cardola was going to attend a dinner for Senator Markham. She would have met him there, and that's why she was killed.
You know who Markham is, don't you?
I have an intuition. Tell me.
If you know about Senator Markham, then you can understand why he's extremely important. If he becomes president, he could forestall the collapse of the global economy and bring a golden age to the US, maybe for hundreds of years. We must protect that potentiality at all costs.
Like Augustus did, in Rome.
Yes. That's why we need you to take another job for us, Mr. Rector.
What kind of job are we talking about?
You determined that Bianca Cardola was not Livia Drusilla. We believe she was killed because someone thought she was. Augustus would not have become Caesar without the wealth and connections his wife brought to their marriage. Someone is trying to kill Markham's Livia in order to prevent his presidency and the rise of the US. We've identified several more candidates. We need you to research each of them and tell us which one is the real Livia Drusilla. I'll offer the same payment as before. $50,000 for you and another $50 for Mr. Walker to provide for your personal security.
No. Sorry.
Do we have a deal?
I told you my terms. I want to know more about what this agency does. And you can explain why you're interested in me while you're at it.
You understand that they will kill her if they find her before we do. They may even kill anyone similar just to be sure. The only way to prevent that is to identify her and get her into secured custody as soon as possible.
That's not my problem.
What about you, Captain Walker? You're a man of honor. Do the lives of a dozen or more women, the wife of a future United States president, mean anything to you?
I could answer that, sir, if I had the vaguest flying fuck what's going on.
Very well. I guess I have no choice but to agree to your terms. Mr. Reichardt, Mr. Walker, if you would please step into the hall.
Go ahead.
I'm going to answer your questions, Mr. Rector. I hope I'm not wrong to trust you.
What is this?
It's you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Your IQ is 175. Your mother was killed by a lion in front of you when you were 7 years old. Your father is a brilliant mathematician, but after your mother's death, killed while she was meeting her lover, he was betrayed and broken. He never showed you affection, hardly acknowledged your presence.
Are you trying to tell me those events were engineered? That my mother?
No. Of course people do try to manipulate events, but no. It was the pattern. All we do is watch.
What does the death of my mother have to do with the pattern?
It was critical to forming who you are. With your intelligence, you might have been a botanist, an oceanographer, a chemist. So many choices. But that lion made you loathe nature, so much so that you turned your back on it completely, focused on the history of men, of objects, and her death deeply scarred your ability to trust. Well,
But Livia Drusilla is a person. The savant is not a person.
no, it's an archetype. There have been 3 savants that we know of in the past, and likely more.
Give me a name.
Benedict de Montfroy, 1230 to 1280. He developed the Moebius theory, which remains our primary source to this day. His mother was killed by a bear.
This is bullshit.
If you believe that, you wouldn't be here. I'll send you a condensed version of the Moebius theory to your phone. Don't try to forward or copy it. We're routing your phone through a secured government call center as of now. Please be sure to use that phone for all future communications with me.
I hope you offer better reception than my old provider. But what about Captain Walker? Who is he? And how is he involved in all this?
Excellent question. I'll tell you the answer after you've identified Livia Drusilla for us.
You drive a hard bargain.
I'll make the arrangements.
Mr. Rector, Mr. Walker, before you board the plane, there's someone here who wants to speak to you.
I wanted to meet you gentlemen in person before you left.
Senator.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
I wanted to ask you personally for your help in identifying and protecting this woman. The woman who was supposed to become my wife.
I can't say I completely believe in any of this, but I'll do what I can to identify Livia Drusilla, if she exists.
Thank you. I don't blame you for your skepticism. I only found out about Fida and Moebius a few months ago myself. It's very strange to be told your own destiny.
You never doubted your destiny for a moment.
True. I always knew that I was meant for something important. But it's another matter to have it confirmed. To know that this woman is out there, and what she's supposed to mean to me. To know that there are people who want to destroy me before I get a chance to do what I was born to do. And to know that they damn well can.
They won't succeed, sir, because we're better than they are.
Do I have your word on that, Captain Walker?
Yes, sir, you do. Goodbye, sir, and don't worry. One of these days, you're gonna tell me who the hell you really are.
When I figure it out, you'll be the first to know. I suppose you're going to follow me around this entire trip.
That's what I'm here for, Mr. Rector.
Well, I certainly hope Dexter's private plane was able to shake any pursuers. It would be nice to only have to think about my job for a change, rather than being attacked.
You worry about your job, sir. I'll take care of the rest.
need to find out who Captain Walker really is. I've started this dossier. This biography is very basic. According to the Moebius info from Dexter, Rarick was the founding father of the modern Moebius theory and worked for the British. I haven't heard of Montfroy. Must be information about him somewhere. The furniture is entirely modern, even if it does have a hint of classic style. There's a counter for adding cream and sugar to your coffee. 4 coffee cups, I suppose. Plants are real and not overly gaudy, which is more than I can say for most of the tourists staying here. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Mr. Rector?
Tell me about your time in the army.
What do you want to know, Mr. Rector?
How old were you when you joined?
20. I knew I wanted to join the military, but if I finished college first, I could enlist as an officer. So I did. I enlisted as a second lieutenant right after graduation.
How long were you in the military?
10 years.
Why did you leave the military?
I spent the last 18 months of my service training foreign armies to disable protesters. Their own people. I couldn't do it anymore. It's getting really bad out there.
No worse than it's always been.
No, trust me. It's worse.
What did you study in college?
I have a BA in military history.
You said you were from Indiana. Did you grow up there?
Yes, I grew up in a small town. Didn't leave it until I went to college.
You've never heard of an agency called FITA?
Not until you took me there. I've made a few phone calls. None of my buddies have heard of them either. They seem to excel at staying under the radar. So, I take it you're supposed to identify a woman who might become Senator Markham's wife, and this is somehow tied to a Roman emperor. I don't suppose you'd care to enlighten me.
I can't trust anyone yet. I'm sure you can understand that.
Sure, Mr. Rector.
Tell me about your family.
I thought we were on a need-to-know basis. I don't see how that...
What about a wife or a girlfriend?
I haven't been in one place long enough to have a relationship.
I don't suppose you have any more brilliant jokes.
Hell yeah! What's brown and sticky?
Do tell.
A stick.
It's not really funny, is it? That's all for now.
As you say, sir.
I suppose you're going to follow me around this entire trip.
That's what I'm here for, Mr.
Well, I certainly hope...
You worry about your...
I need to find out who Captain Walker really is. I've started this dossier. This biography is very basic. According to the Moebius info from Dexter, Rarick was the founding father of the modern Moebius theory and worked for the British. I haven't heard of Montfroy. Must be information about him somewhere. Mr. Walker?
Yeah.
Tell me about your time.
What do you want to know, Mr.?
How old were you when you joined? How long?
What?
No worse than it's always.
No.
What? You said you were from.
Yes, I agree.
You've never heard.
Not until you took. They seem to excel. So,
Here's what I know.
So, Senator Markham is supposed to be Augustus. And if he marries the right woman, he'll become president and save the global economy?
If you take the Moebius theory seriously, yes. Or at least, he has that potential.
Do you? Trust the Moebius theory?
It seems absurd, but let's just say I can't entirely dismiss it.
Thank you for telling me.
Probably not the smartest thing I've ever done.
You told me because you know you can trust me. And you can.
I don't trust anyone.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about your family.
I have one sister. She's married and lives in Ohio.
And your parents?
They're still living.
What about a wife?
I haven't been in one place long enough to have her.
I don't suppose you have any.
Hell yeah!
Do tell. It's not really fun. That's all for.
As you say,